Okay, good morning. Good morning. So briefly before we start, a reminder that I'll be including in the chat information if anyone is interested in giving dana to Dorjilok and Dr. Holmai. There will be information for the US if you need to any of those options, or outside the US also there will be a PayPal link available. Also for the Center Urban Dharma, I will also be providing the link so you can give a donation to our host center for this program as well. Thank you. Thank you, Dr. Lai.
Water in the plate?
No, there is. Regarding that announcement, as I have said, if you're in a place where it's just too complicated to send your offering to the center, then please, I believe wherever you are, I am sure there is a Dharma center there, and so you should send your offering there. It's a little bit awkward because I still like my 8 worldly concerns. It's a little bit awkward to talk about donations myself, but especially for this Vasudhara water offering, abundance practice, you have to engage in acts of giving. So do it, wherever you are, however you can. If it comes to urban dharma, it's good, since to even have this Zoom, it costs like $200-300 US a month to have this Zoom subscription. And just so you know, everyone at the Urban Dharma, including myself, is a volunteer. Nobody gets, a paycheck. Nobody gets like a free house or free health care or anything like that. So we all do our part to, practice the Dharma ourselves, and also try to make the Dharma available to other people. So wherever you are, if that's the easiest way for you to engage in giving, please do so. Especially many of you, I believe, are members of other Drikung Kagyu centers. So particularly that, if you are a member of Drikung Kagyu centers, I am a Drikung Kagyu person. So my responsibility in part is to also all these Drikung Kagyu centers, in that I am not doing this to compete, with other Drikung Kagyu centers and their lamas. So your local lama is primarily who you should support. So I offer this in support of the wonderful work that they are doing. Your local Drikung Kagyu center. I know Drikung Kagyu. Other lineages, I don't know that much. I know Drikung Kagyu. Our Drikung Kagyu centers are all very modest. We're not like some other fancy lineage where they have a lot of Jambhalas supporting their centers. I know our Drikung Kagyu centers, we don't have that. We have really wonderful people who are doing their best to make Dharma available to everyone. So your responsibility should be primarily to your local, and especially if it's a Drikung Kagyu centers, please direct your offerings in that direction. Then finally, personally, there are a number of you who have been very supportive of what I've been doing in terms of committing to monthly donations that you send me. If you are among those people, please don't send more because of this program. Again, if you have more, you can give to other people. You are already doing monthly, and so there's no need to do more of it. So let us begin with the 4 recitations that we always do at the beginning, which is the first 2, which is the aspiration bodhicitta and application bodhicitta. These are words used by Kyopa Jigden Sumgun himself, the founder of Drikung Kagyu lineage, followed by the refuge recitation composed by Lord Atisha, and then finally meditating on the 4 immeasurables. Those words are found in the sutras that the Buddha himself taught. So we're going to do those 4 recitations, and at the beginning we will do 1 time in whatever local language. English in the main room, and then in the translation room, Vietnamese and Spanish. Then we're going to come back and I'm going to chant in Tibetan.
Lamala Benaya Sesquim Sotek.
Not yet. You can wait first, okay? Thank you. I'll tell you. Oh, mother sentient beings, limitless as the sky, especially those enemies who hate me, obstructors who harm me, and those who create obstacles on my path of vision and all-knowingness. May they experience happiness and be separated from suffering. I will quickly establish them in the state perfect and precious Bodhi. Thus, until I achieve Buddha, I engage in virtuous deeds with body, speech, and mind. Till death, I engage in virtuous deeds with body, speech, and mind. Now, until this time tomorrow, I engage in virtuous deeds, body, speech, and mind. In the Buddha, Dharma, and Sangha, most excellent, I take refuge until by the merit of generosity and other perfections, may I attain Buddhahood for the sake of all wandering beings. May all mother sentient beings, limitless as the sky, happiness and the causes of happiness, may they be liberated from suffering, and the causes of suffering be separated from the happiness that is free from sorrow. May they rest in equanimity, free from the bias of attachment and aversion. Now, let me say something about chanting. So, whenever we chant as a group, do practice as a group, there is a chant leader. In Tibetan, it's called umze. The chant leader in monasteries where everybody have a role to play and they are trained, the chant master is not the person leading, sitting in the main seat. The chant master is usually another person. So that's the first point. Then the chant master, the chant leader, leads the chanting so that, everybody follows the chant master. So what does it mean that the chant master leads the chanting? It doesn't mean, this person has the loudest voice, it means everybody has to learn how to listen to the chant master. So you have to listen because you have to know what he or she is telling you you should be chanting next. So practically what that means is then at the end of a particular chant, right, everybody's voice becomes softer because they are listening to the chant leader to see where he's going next. So that way you don't need to remember, is this the second time we are chanting this thing that needs to be chanted 3 times, or if it is the first time, or if it is the third time, because the chant master is supposed to keep track. So then you listen, so towards the end of each chant, your voice, if you're not the chant leader, is softer, not so loud, because you need to listen and see where the chant master is going next. Then the chant master should not breathe at the end of a line or at the end of a prayer. Why? Because if the chant master breathes or pause, like to breathe at the end of a line or at the end of a prayer, then other people might think, if they're listening, oh, he's stopping. In which case, everybody should stop. So at the same time, if the chant leader breathes in the middle of a line, you are not supposed to stop. You are not supposed to go softer, the rest of you. You have to keep going, because the chant master have to breathe, you know. So the agreement is that the chant master will not breathe at the end of a line, will not try to breathe in at the end of a line or at the end of the prayer, so that you don't think that he is stopping. But if you don't hear him at the end of a line, that means he's saying stop. So then you stop. Make sense? So again, mid-line, mid-sentence, mid-prayer, when you hear a pause from the person leading the chant, it's just that person breathing. You should continue. But at the end of a line or at the end of a prayer, if the person goes silent, the leader goes silent, then you double check, you look at the person. And the chant master is like, if they want to stop, they will let you know with their eyes. Yeah? So all of this, right, might sound like, you might think, oh, this is just complicated rules. This is what we mean, being aware, being mindful. Right? You never chant until you're lost in some world by yourself. Your awareness becomes more and more stable. Your focus becomes more and more stable, but not more and more narrow. Stable, but we say panoramic. All directions. Your senses are clear. So now for those of you who read Vietnamese and English, we're going to, Hung in Vietnam is going to share screen so that you can see where we are on the text. We were not able to also include the Spanish, apologies. So hopefully in the Spanish, Claudia can tell people what page we are on. Maybe the opening recitation is not in the Spanish text that has been circulated, but I'm sure all of you can find that one. But now I'm going to chant in Tibetan. Go ahead, Hong. Yeah, go up, up, up. Yeah. Dolo dhawa jebe dra no bar jebe ge dharbadan tham je gembe chobar jeba tham je ge su jebe manang kadang nyambe senjen tham je deva dan den dunya dan nerdu me pa yan habra zobe janju rinpoche to bara jo dala dhawa jebe dra jebe ge darbadan tham je gembe bardu jobra jeba tham je ge so jebe manang kadan nyambe senjen tham je deva dan den dunya nerdu lana me pa yan habra sobe janju rinpoche to bara jo dala dawa jebe rano bar jebe ge tarba dan tam je gembe bardu chobara jeba tham je ge so jebe manangada nyam pe sen chen tam je dewa dan den dunya dan ner de la na me pa ya da para zobe ko je to ban je de je de sama ge ge bar de unga yisum ge wala ko ma she bar de lunga yisum ge wala ko de re ne sun de ne ma san ta sam ge bar de lunga yisum ge wala ko san je chodan so ge chonam la chan chu bar de Kyabse je dagi jinso ge be sonam ge chola penjer sanje do prasho sanje so ge chonam la jancho barde dane kyabse je dagi jinso ge be sonam ge chola penjer sanje do prasho Sangye Soke Chonam La Chanje Barde Dane Kamse Che Dake Jinsa Gepe Sonanke Drola Pencher Sangye Dubra Shomana Kada Senjen Tamche Dewa Dan Dewe Gyundan Dembar Gyurchi Dungyao Dan Dungyao Gi Gyudan Dewa Gyurchi Dungyao Mebe Dewa Dami Dewa Gyurchi Niring Chada Nidan Dewe Tanyo La Nebra Gyurchi Manang Kada Tamche Dewa Tang Dewe Gyundan Dempar Gyurchi Dungyao Tang Dungyao Gi Gyudan Dewa Gyurchi Dungyao Mebe Dewa Dewa Gyurchi Niring Chada Nidan Dewe Danyam La Nebra Gyurchi Manam Kada Nyambe Dewa Dan Dewe Gyundan Dempar Gyurchi Dungyao Dan Dungyao Gi Gyudan Dewa Gyurchi Dungyao Mebe Dewa Dami Dewa Gyurchi Niring Chada Nidan Dewe Danyao La Nebra Gyurchi. Now we do the mandala offering. So we do this mandala offering as an offering to Vasudhara, the four Jambhalas, to all the Buddhas and Bodhisattvas, the three jewels, the three broods, all objects of refuge, in exchange, so to say, in order to receive the precious instructions of the Buddha Dharma. Mandala Pradeja So Dorje Chanjin de Naroda, Mamida Popa Doji Tengun Garden Sunden Zavela Mesha Sadula Mayidam Jogan Soba de Suda Kitchen Jilum Kyabgön Domezamen Genda Beton Sunyan La Kenzo Mega Doji Jambhalas Tengun Boshabla Dodo Tatu Sanke Kyoleme Chinjiloshi to Jijin again, Mobas and against the day to Dobra Chinjilo. Okay, Pema, we don't have to share right now. Later, when we need to share, I'll let you know. The screen. Okay. Again, good morning to everyone and good evening to everyone. We are from the Western Hemisphere and also in the East, in Asia. Today is the 13th day of the beginning of the Lunar New Year for many cultures in East Asia. So this coming Tuesday is the last day of the New Year season. So particularly for many of us that celebrate this particular New Year, it's always considered very auspicious in the first 15 days to cultivate acts of virtue, acts of merit, and to dedicate this merit and virtue to all beings everywhere. So we take this opportunity, in this auspicious time, to also offer this program based on request from Dharma brothers and sisters from Vietnam. So wherever you are that you are participating, please remember the importance of cultivating a spirit and a heart of generosity, open heart, open hands. This is the basis for Jambhala and Vasudhara, for this quality of wealth and abundance to turn up in our lives. The Buddha taught that contentment, he says, is the highest wealth. So when he says contentment is the highest wealth, he is not saying that you don't have enough and you keep saying to yourself, oh, don't think about it, don't think about it, Don't think about it, because that is not contentment. What he means by contentment is the best kind of wealth. Is talking about when we achieve a state of when we achieve a state of being where our minds, are not focused on, do I have enough? Do I not have enough? Do I have enough? Do I not have enough? So there are many ways to be in that state of mind, in that way of existing. But the best one is based on understanding and trusting that the law of karma works without mistake. So understanding that karma works without mistake and resting or trusting in that doesn't mean, some people misunderstand. They think when we say trust karma, it means don't do anything. Then whatever is supposed to happen will happen. That is not karma. That kind of thinking is believing in this idea of fate. The problem is the Buddha did not teach this thing called fate. Buddha taught us karma. So karma means what? Karma means all the choices that we make, all the actions that we make, they produce results. They have consequences. That is the Buddha's teachings on karma. First point. There are many points to karma, of course. But the first most important point is actions produce results, produce consequences. Now, not just any action here. Here we're talking about actions done with intention, with a motive. So they say like sneezing, right? Is not a karmic action. Now, sneezing is a type of action, of course, but it's not karmic action. Because most of us, when we sneeze, we don't say, oh, I sneeze because I want this or that to happen. Unless you are a very strange person and you say, oh, I have COVID, I'm now going to go sneeze on everyone. And then you try to make yourself sneeze to give people disease. Then sneezing in that case becomes a karmic action. But otherwise, actions with intention is what makes it karmic actions. All karmic actions then have karmic results, consequences. So then, once we understand this basic principle of karma, then we act. We do what we need to do. We do what we can do. So karma, understanding karma is not just waiting for things to happen. No, it's knowing that we can make choices. Then if we make skillful choices, then they will result in that which we want. If we make unskillful actions, if we take unskillful actions, meaning actions that are controlled by the three poisons, confusion, attachment, and aversion. When we make actions based on these three poisons, then the results are going to be results that we will find to be unpleasant, we will not like. So understanding karma, then we act accordingly as much as we can. I will say, in a realistic way, sometimes, even when karmically, it's better to act in a certain way, your circumstances, don't seem to make it so easy for you to do that. I get that. I myself always find myself in those situations. But nonetheless, we have to be clear. What kind of causes bring what kind of results? That we need to keep working on being clear about that. There is a very good question somebody asked. So, does it mean then actions that are done without intention or without thinking don't produce karmic results? We have to be careful in answering that question, because it is not the case that, if you are careless, then there is no karmic effect. And that's not what we're saying here. So I gave the example of sneezing, because sneezing, for example, it's a reflex of the body, right? So that clearly, no karmic effect, unless, again, like I said, you are going to use your sneezing as a weapon to go harm someone. Then obviously there is karmic effect there, right? At the same time, I don't know, maybe there's a strange new virus somewhere in 10 years later, where if people get infected, they will get better. Then you go around sneezing at people with the intention to make them better, then yes, that becomes a good karma. But we should not think, if you act without thinking, or you act carelessly, then you are karma free. Because If you intentionally act without thinking, that is a kind of karma, right? In fact, Kyopa Jigten says, so this is to highlight for us that actually lack of mindfulness, lack of awareness, that is the most dangerous of all the poisons. Even though like anger and hate, right, immediately can cause a lot of harm. When you're very angry, and if you're a very powerful person, you can say, I want all of them to die. If you a king or a dictator, then many people die. Oh, that karma, of course, is very immediate, very strong, and a lot of harm. But Kyopa Jigten says, actually, even more dangerous than that is continuing to let your mind be without awareness. Like that means not paying attention, continuously letting your mind be distracted. Now, all those are related to lack of presence. Not present here, there, and not training to have your mind be present. He says that is the most dangerous, because even like anger, hatred, attachment, jealousy, all those things come from lack of awareness. So he says, of all the poisonous causes of suffering, not knowing is the most dangerous. So from that perspective, we should also be very careful to do our best to always have presence of mind, to always be here and paying attention. There is one more question brought up. What about the constant arising of discursive thoughts? Here we can define discursive thoughts as thoughts that are based on subject and object. Is that considered an intentional karma or unintentional karma? Right? So this has to do with more and more subtle levels of the mind. So the active thought of, I want to hurt you, that clearly is a karmic act. Then the more subtle, just this flow, a continuous flow of thoughts and feelings, coming and going and coming and going and coming and going. Are those karmic actions? Not on the obvious level, but still on the subtle level, as long as this kind of discursive thoughts continue, then it keeps feeding that habit of separating our experience into subject and object. Then, of course, it will continue to cloud and to continue to feed the habit of this discursive thoughts, which is the basic ingredient for creating all of samsaric existence. But right now, you and me, all we need to know is to understand that as a problem. Realistically, hard for us to solve that problem. So don't read too much about it, don't talk too much about it, don't debate too much about it. Better to spend the time that you have on the 10 non-virtues, removing them from your day-to-day life. So anyway, the basic principles of karma is easy to understand. The analogy of like, you put this seed into the ground, when the conditions are right, this particular plant is going to shoot out from the ground. You put another type of seed on the ground, when the conditions are right, another type of plant is going to come out of the ground. So that's the basic principle. But the really detailed understanding of karma, Buddha pointed out, he said, whereas an 8th bhumi, an 8th level bodhisattva, at that point fully understand emptiness. But those bodhisattva on the 8th bhumi, even though they can see fully the meaning, the reality of the truth of emptiness, ultimate bodhicitta. But they cannot fully see how karma works in all their details yet. Only a Buddha, which is on the 11th level, on the 11th ground, can see fully how karma works. All the intricate details. So first, understanding karma, I said, right? Then second, right? Coming back to the original point. Second is, then when we understand how karma works, when we understand how karma works, then we need to trust the workings of karma. And so that means, you do what you know you should do, but when the results of what you do will come or not come, you don't need to worry about it. Don't worry about it. Don't think about it. Don't try to force it. And so that's the trusting karma part. Trusting in that way. Not trusting, pray to karma. Oh, please, karma, please, 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 please give me what I want. Or passively, whatever happened will happen. I'll just wait. I'll be natural. Then you're hungry. Then you say, oh, I'll just be natural. I will trust karma. Food will come into my mouth, if I'm supposed to have food. I trust in karma. Not like that, okay? So as we discussed yesterday, for Kyopa Jigten Sumgön, if we don't understand these foundational matters, these preliminaries, if we don't keep working on understanding the preliminaries, the foundational matters, then all the other things that we think that we can do, all these other practices that we think we can practice, not only will they not lead to the result that we're looking for, they can even lead to suffering. So Lord Gampopa says, the Dharma is so wonderful, the Dharma is just amazing, it is the single cure for samsaric existence, for the sufferings of samsara. But then he also said, he says, but not knowing how to practice the Dharma, or practicing the Dharma the wrong way, even as wonderful and as amazing and as indispensable the Buddha Dharma is. If you don't know how to practice, if you don't develop clear understanding of foundational matters like karma, like renunciation, like bodhicitta, then Dharma leads to the lower realms. Yeah, so now with this reminder, right? Yesterday the reminder was mostly on bodhicitta. Today the reminder is on karma. Without fully understanding karma, well, fully, maybe not fully, only Buddhists, right? Fully. Without understanding, without having clear understanding of the basic principles of karma, you will practice Vasudhara like you are a shamanistic practice. You will practice Vasudhara as a way of forcing things to happen. Temporarily, it might seem like things are happening, but all the lineage master says, those good things that you think are happening, they are all Mara's delusions. They are all demonic delusions appearing like success. So we have to be careful about that. So now I will do the lung for the practice once again. I know some people were not able to attend yesterday or maybe miss some parts. Always more is better in a way, right? So listen intently, listen with the right motivation, which is that listen as if you requested this practice from Buddha Shakyamuni. Because we have obscurations, you and me, we cannot directly hear Buddha Shakyamuni teaching us. But actually Buddha Shakyamuni is teaching us. In the Lotus Sutra, Buddha Shakyamuni says, I will forever be on Vulture's Peak, which is one place in India, okay? But it doesn't mean only there. It means, he says, until this samsara is not destroyed, as long as samsara is not destroyed, I will always remain here teaching. But you and I, we have a lot of obscurations, So we don't hear him, we don't see him. So then, as a result, unfortunately, you guys have to look at me and hear me, this human person talking. But do your best when I'm doing this oral transmission. Don't think of it as me. Think you're hearing from Buddha Shakyamuni. Or if you naturally feel more close to Lady Vasudhara and the 4 Jambhalas, then you imagine you are in this garden. She's described as usually dwelling in a garden with lots of flowers, lots of bees, healthily going from flower to flower, with all her attendant sisters, and you can think, it's Lady Vasudhara giving me this practice. And those of you, if you want to think, it's Buddha Shakyamuni teaching, our temple here in Urban Dharma, this scenery behind is to represent the forest that Buddha Shakyamuni was teaching in. And Buddha Shakyamuni is standing, coming to you, reaching out to you, and teaching us. So this is the forest of Deer Park. If you look closely, you'll see some deer, shadows of deer in the background. Special effect.
I'm scared of it.
Namke banzo dargi nema je jawa. Om banza amrita kundale hana hana om pe om dum swa bhava shunda zavada me swa bhava shunda ham tom pe nale. Dundu naso bema dama jibe deva gesar dam gesar soso uzu ale dhawe dengi tendu bam yele dregine ma bam ge zen bale oze naso joju tro semchen tamje ujin pumpe dumyao da Trejin sene legi deba jan surdu sabon cha zen dan cheba yungsu gyur pale Chumden dema lamo norgyun ma kundo sarantso ma dabu shaji jani ma Shishin zumla joge rowe lanzo sarpa geni lompa dabu chaye shinto benzabura kadhang Chebe chojingi chak chagya dang yondre karangi nema sarpa tukar namba Rinpoché choben sogen tamche ki genpa don ting re be lenche lembuche chingi gyap tu rowa la tse ki re ja du me to yo dang me yo lam lu du so wa me to namba na so ki chengwa sarbe lek parang genpa Lume Nampara Deve Nyam Chen Pume Gyume Nagyang Ging Pa Shani Ki Trun Jebe Rinpoche Baro Va Kyube Peme Tere Nam Nempa De Dagi Dundang Yesu Da De Re Re Kyabdang Yondu Nime De Re Re Tendu Dune Ye Koro Du Zam Ye Kar Ser Mana O Baraware Re Sawe Namle Oze Tro Doni Je Du Yongsu Gyur Pale Dundu Jambhala Karpo Kundo Dungiri Wang Tabu Dula Zengyo Du Shonpa Ye Tang Ten Ta Ye Nyule Gyawa Zinjin Dada Rinpoche Naso Be Genpa Yesu Jambhala Serpo Jambu Juwo Sergi Dojen Ye Shinto Pecha Puraka Dang Yo Nyule Gyopa Zinpa Upale Trengwa Jen Jabki Peme Dondan Tarada Nenpa Gyabtu Jambhala Marpo Kundo Pema Rage Do Chen Sha Sum Cha Tru Sha Ye Kar Yomar U Ku Dang Tumpa Sha Re Re La Chen Sum Sum Ngawa Cha Tu Ki Ye Dang Rinpoche Barpe Cha Kyu Yom Dang Po Topa Norbu Gangwe Barwe Shakpa Tamani Ki Nyule Norgi Gangware Re Zempa Zabki Kyabgön Ki Nuji Norkyu Nini Nempa Changpe Nyamjen Dada Rinpoche Dume Gente Tukare Lamo Kurukule Marmo Shelchi Chakshima Chadangpo Niki Dasu Oma Niki Chakyu Dang Shakpa Zimpa Dada Rinpoche Genpa Oe Yondu Papa Mukzin Kundo Indra Nile Lunpola Duki Munbe Kyuta Kyupa Tabu Ye Topa Taki Gangwa Dang Yon Nule Kyawa Zempa Cherbu Myutongi Sukchen Samni Kyangkumgi Shenne Norda Serpo Nemba Deta So Koro Tamchegi Chibo Omkarpo Dimba Amarpo Tuka Hongompo De Namle Oze Tobe Rangshingi Nene Gompa Tabu Yeshepa Nam Chendang Gompo Kunshe Tujete Data Nima Ngayidu Shashin Supe Nengenya Rola Tsebe Shesu So Bhadra Sama Ja Damsik Padang Yeshepa Yer Me Par Kyur La Yang Tuke Sabongi Uki Wangki La Kyawaringa Chendrang Ompenja Gula Sabarivara Argam Panyam Pushpe Dupe Aloke Gende Nepede Shabda Pratitya Soha Sarva Tatakata Abisenjantu Mam Wangile Wangkurku Gante Mada Chulangma Yarlu Pale Chomo Dam Samsarla Renjung Karpola Namnang Marpola Opa Me Napola Mikyope Chupengi Geda Wangla Nam Rangi La Timpa Rangi Lakpa Yome Tildu Dawe Usu Ayikarapo Tsempale Dutsi Rogya Dandempale Jingme Ki Dutsi La Yangye Para Kyuvar Nube Gyum Bamba Jumdende Matsokornge Shaudu Pushing Kutru Sowe Nye Tsim Shing Tsim Ne Daso Semchen Tamche La Nogi Ngodu Charbaba Taro Soshin Kepara Gyuru Om Vasudhara Jambhala Jalendraye Jambhala Jalendraye Dhana Medi Indrani Mukam Brahma Hri Swaha. So here, please repeat after me this offering mantra. Om Vasudhara
Om Vasudhara
Naye
Naye
Jambhala
Jambhala
Jalendraye
Salendraya
Jambhala
Jambhala
Jalendraya
Salendraya
Dhana Medi
Dana Medi,
Hri,
Hri,
Indrani,
Indrani,
Mukam,
Mukam,
Brahmari,
Brahmari,
Swaha,
Swaha,
Om Vasudhare Naye,
Om Vasudarinaya,
Jambala Jalendraya,
Zambala Jalendraya,
Jambala Jalendraya,
Zambala Jalendraya,
Dadamedi Hri,
Dana Namedi Shri,
Indrani Mukam,
Indrani Mukam,
Brahmari Swaha,
Brahmarishi Soha,
Om Vasudhare Naye,
Om Vasudarinaya,
Jambala Jalendraya,
Zambala Jalendraya,
Jambala Jalendraya,
Zambala Jalendraya,
Dadamedi Hri,
Dana Mediri,
Indrani Mukam,
Indrani Mukam,
Brahmari Swaha.
Brahmari Soha.
So that's the mantra. So I continue now. Om Vasudharinaya Jambala Jalendraya Jambala Jalendraya Dhanamedi Hri Indrani Mukam Brahmari Hri Saparivara Argyam Padyam Pushpe Dupam Aloke Kende Nevede Shapta Pratichaya Swaha Lamo Gangshi Yila Densamgi Punsong Rinchen Nordan Runamdan Kangshi Chu Song Edu Terzema Sampel Norgyun Terla Chaksel To Shive Suzin Chumden Davedo Dado Tena Sinkyo Giro Shin Tang Ten Tergi Nyule Zin Chase Sergom Buse Dagi Rewadu Norgi Wangchu Rinchen Terga Shin Nujin no dam hangpo kungi je changzhu kyongwe gongpo Jambala nga drup joso no la cha sel to Dusun sanje kunji shungi la tukje chape kundo marpo shuk Wangi chinle zog ze Jambala cha sel dobe rewa kangdu so Papa muksin chu wang cho wana miu tong su chang no jinje de ponje Kyo ni mi kyo chok tu da rengi cha seo norgi ngadum nyur tu so sarine leki me yi dung pa nam ke dang kerwa kyo la kyab su chi rinchen du si char gi chu kyun gi sem chen uwe dunya shirwa cho om badra satwa samayam Anopalayam Vasudhara Sato Teno Pate State Domen Bava Sudokaya Memo Subokaya Memo Anurata Memo Vasavasine Men Prayata Sarva Karma Sujame Chitang Sreya Guru Hong Ha 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 O Bhagavan Saura Tatakata Bajrama Memo Jabajri Bava Mahasamaya Sato A Bajramu Yeshepa Nam Rang Ne Sushe Damsik Parang La Timpar Gyuru So nam di tam je se ba ni tam ne ne de na pam je de ke ga na je ba ni to ba si pe so le to wa sho chang ju sem jo le po je ma ke ba na ke ba na pa gong ne gong du pe wa sho Yeah, so now that lung is complete. So although lung is the oral transmission, the sound transmission, know that the sound or the words, they are like the container. More importantly, what needs to be passed on, this is what we mean by transmitted, is the understanding and the experience of this practice. So the understanding of this practice is what we are learning now. The experience, to the degree that the Lama giving the transmission has some experience with the practice, then to that degree, that experience can be expressed in the understanding that is being shared. So that, in fact, is where the life force of the practice truly comes from. So today we will do this practice by I will pause and explain each part of the practice. Yesterday, right, we did the practice mostly by just going continuously. So now I will go through part by part and try to give you some explanation. On your end, you know, you learn what you can, but don't get too caught up in trying to know everything, trying to get all the answers, because in fact most of the answers should come from your practice. As you practice more, as you practice more, as you practice more, practice with an open heart, practice with the right motivation, the practice itself with the blessings of the deities will cause understanding to arise in you. So in the notes here, right, it says, what kind of motivation we need to have? We need the motivation of, there are so many beings, you know, that are suffering from poverty, or the fear of poverty, meaning like afraid of being poor, and also the terror of not knowing, you know, like even like next meal, you know, will I get or not? Will my children get or not? You know, so we need to think not so much for ourselves at all, but that there is poverty in the world, and then poverty, right? It's not just material poverty. Poverty, poor in terms of like thinking I don't have enough, thinking I don't have enough time, thinking I don't have enough rest. All of that, all kinds of poverty. So we think there are so many beings suffering from this. So I want to practice now this water offering to Vasudhara, to the 4 Jambhalas, in order to alleviate the suffering of poverty that is experienced by beings everywhere. Then particularly, you know, for human beings right now, this pandemic has caused a lot of economic difficulties. People have lost their jobs. People are not able to make a living. So we think, you know, to alleviate the suffering of these beings, I will now make this offering to Vasudhara and the 4 Jambhalas. So we need to have this motivation. Yeah. So first, so in terms of preparing, right, the water, so water in a clean jug here because this pot is a little small. So then you add milk. So I said generally, this is not like set recipe. Generally, 80% of water, 20% of milk. So you add that. And then in the notes it says, if you have saffron, you can add saffron. If you have red sandalwood, you can add red sandalwood. So then you can add flowers, there are mention of some flowers in there. So you can add some of these pleasing materials to the water. But the most basic need is simply water mixed with milk. If you don't have milk, just clean water is sufficient. Then the other not mentioned in our text is to have some food dharma to represent the Jambhala deities that you can put on this little plate here. So what I'm using is these corn cereal that is round in shape. So that's the traditional shape that is often used. Sometimes you can also make like something that looks like a bun or a fruit to put in there to represent the Jambhala deities. So I'm going to put these cereal. It's okay if they fall to the bottom. You just kind of stack them up to make a heap. A nice heap of them. Oops, it keeps falling.
Use something like blueberries.
Grains usually.
Grain.
There was a question, can you use like strawberries, blueberries, some kind of fruit? Traditionally, it's grains, but no problem if you want to use fruit, but traditionally it's grains. I think grains have the connotation of a staple, basic food that we eat.
There's some questions.
So again, there was a question about non-dairy milk. Yesterday already answered. Basically, I said I have no answer. I don't know. You decide. It's the motivation. Yeah. Then the 25 substances somebody asked for Pumpa. No need to put this into this. The 25 substances. I mean, there's nothing wrong, but the 25 substances is to be used for like the Pumpa for empowerment. If you don't know what the 25 substances are, don't worry about it. If you do know, it's not wrong to put, but no need. Then also, sometimes some people, they might put a small statue of Jambhala or Vasudhara. Small statue of Vasudhara, basically impossible to find. But very easy you can get, well, not very easy, but you can reasonably get a small little miniature statue of yellow Jambhala especially. And sometimes you can also find black Jambhala. So even though here Vasudhara is in the center, if you have a small Jambhala statue, it's okay, no contradiction to put a small statue of Jambhala.
On the plate.
Yes, on this little plate.
Yes, there.
Then some question, should I be vegetarian to do the Jambhala water offering? If you can, really good. If you cannot, don't let that stop you from making this offering. Then, the best time of the day, again, generally speaking, first thing in the morning. Again, if you cannot, now it's in the afternoon, you say, should I do or not do? Always better to do than not do. For some old monks, now younger monks and nuns, they don't do this, but some old monks, I've met some of them, they do this water offering every day, and not just to Jambhala. There is like a water offering to like 7 groups or 6 groups of different deities, all water offering. They do this as their daily practice, first thing in the morning, and also before eating anything. So the idea there is you do this water offering, and the last of the water offering is an offering to the hungry ghost. So the reason you don't eat yet is so that in a way you kind of make a connection with this hungry ghost. You kind of understand their situation. So you don't eat, don't drink until you have finished doing all the water offerings. And then the last offering is offering to the hungry ghost. But this is not in our text, just giving you a broader understanding of how you could do this. And so if you have the situation that is possible, you can do this early in the morning before you eat breakfast.
water, tea, juice, milk.
So there are many questions people have. Some the important ones. No alcohol and things like that. No tea, water and milk. So anyway, now first in this with the text that we're going to go through, you begin first by cleansing the offerings and all the offering plate, material, everything you cleanse. So we cleanse with this mantra, the first of the two mantras at the beginning here. Then after the cleansing, the next mantra is the emptiness mantra. The emptiness mantra, in a way you could say, is ultimate cleansing. The first cleansing you can say is relative cleansing. Cleansing the offerings, removing anything that is not clean. And how can offerings become not clean? Not just in the external way, not clean. In internal way, you know. Like, oh, I'm going to make this offering and I'm going to get rich. That idea, you know, we need to clean. We need to remove. I'm going to offer, $2 milk. Then I hope I get $200 lottery. Things like this. You have to cleanse. So that's the first mantra. Second mantra, Om Swabhava mantra. That's the realization of emptiness mantra. And there, completely all grasping, all confusion is cleansed, is removed. Om Panza Amrita Kundali Hana Hana Om Pe Om Swabhava Shuddha Sarva Dharme Swabhava Shuddho If you don't have this ritual spoon, finger. Manza Amrita Kundali Hana Hana Om Pe Om Swabhava Shuddha Sarva Dhamma Swabhava Shuddho Hang. So then out of the state of emptiness, in the space in front, which is this offering. So you should think this little vessel here is not just this little vessel. This little vessel here is like a big reservoir, a big pond, a big pool. Then in the center of the pool, right, there is a throne. Then on that throne, first a big lotus appears, it says. Then this big lotus has 4 big petals, so that in the center you have Vasudhara. Then on each of the petals there are smaller lotuses that will appear for the 4 Jambhalas to sit on. Tum be ngangle dundun naso be ma dama je be dewa gezar dang gezar zozo uzu ale dawe dengi tende bam ye le degi ne ma bam ge zambale oze naso juju tro sen chen tam je u shin pong pe dung yao dang zhe shin se ne ge de ba jang su re du Sabon chia sen dang che pa yung su gyuro pa le chung den de ma la mo nor gyun ma kun do ser zo ma tabu sha chi cha ni ma. So in the center of this big lotus, from an A syllable appear a moon disk. On top of the moon disk is a bum syllable. This bum syllable, it's not mentioned here, but it's golden in color. So this bum syllable is the seed syllable for Vasudhara, which of course some of you also know is also the seed syllable for Vajrayogini or Vajravarahi. So Vajrayogini and and Vasudhara, they are closely related. Light goes out, then light comes back. So a lot of details here. We cannot go through all the details. I'm just giving you some key elements here, mentioning them. Anyway, light goes out, then light comes back, then turns into Vasudhara. She's pure gold in color, one face, two arms. Then the next section describes her in detail. Shi Shin Zum La Jo Ge Ro We Lan So Sar Pa Ge Ni Lon Pa Ta Bu Cha Ye Shin To Pi Cha Pura Ka Tang Che Pe Chu Jing Gi Cha Kya Dang Yun De Ka Re Gi Ne Ma Sar Pa Tu Ka Nam Pa Rinpoché Chu Ben So Gen Tam Che Ki Gen Pa Ton Ting Re Pe Rinpoché Jing Gi Kyab Tu Tro Wa La Zeki Re Cha Du Me To Yo Dang Me Yo La Lu Tu So Wa Me To Nam Pa Na So Ki Tren Wa Sar Pe Lek Par Gen Pa Lo Me Nam Pra De We Nyam Chen Bu Me Kyu Me Na Kya Ki King Pa Jam Ni Kyu Tron Che Pe Rinpoché Bar Wa Kyu Pe Pe Me Ter Nam Nen Pa. Then, now in front of her, and to the right, in front and to the right, it says here, on the two petals, yeah, a lotus, a moon disk appear, and moon disk appear. Then behind and left is sun disk and sun disk. So like a white round cushion. A white round cushion here, red round cushion behind, and red round cushion on the left. So then on top, then on these four seed syllables, jam, 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 jam. And they are in front of you, so all the jam is facing you, looking at you. Dagi dun dang yesu da ten re re gyam dan yun du ni me de re ten du dun ne ye kor du zam yi kar ser ma na obar wa re re sa wa nam le o ze tro do ni je du yong su gyur ba le. So again, same, you know, light goes out, then light comes back. Then each of these jump turns into one of the Jambhalas. Dundu Jambhala Karpo Kundo Dunkiri Wang Tabu Dula Zenkir Du Shon Pa Ye Dang Trenda Yen Niu Le Kyawa Zin Jin Dada Rinpoché Naso Pe Gyen Pa. So now in front of her is white Jambhala, and he's the one that is riding on a dragon. So usually, when you Google, right, for example, for white Jambhala, you'll see that his right hand, he's holding a trident, a three-pointed weapon. Here in our text, it says that he's holding a mala. So that's a slight difference there. Yeah. Then left hand, same. He's holding a mongoose. Can you bring me the mongoose over there? Recently, friends in Mexico asked some craftsmen to make a mongoose for me. Since it's dangerous to have a real mongoose as a pet, now I have a porcelain mongoose pet. It's also a piggy bank. You can put money in there, into this mongoose. So you have to feed the mongoose, you know. So you have to do acts of generosity. Otherwise, the Jambhalas, when they are pressing the mongoose, it says that jewels and wealth comes out. But if you just keep pressing the mongoose and you don't feed the mongoose, your mongoose is going to die, okay? So don't press the mongoose too much, you know. You have also got to feed the mongoose. I'm sure parents all feel that way, you know, like their kids are pressing them, like, you know, pressing the mongoose. All four of the Jambhalas, they hold mongoose. This is, I think, in part because in ancient India, they think that the wealthiest people are Persians, modern day Iran. The Persian Empire was very wealthy, and these Persian business people, traders that come to India, they have their Persian Gucci bags. And their Gucci bags are made with mongoose skin, where they keep all their money. So when we say Jambhala is holding a mongoose sack, actually it's the purse, money purse. Because Persian wealthy person. It's like mink, you know. It's mongoose in ancient Persia. Then next to her right, yellow Jambhala appears. Yesu Jambhala Sarpo Jambu Chuo Sargi Do Chen Yeshin To Bijapura Ka Dang Yon Nule Kyelpa Zimba Upale Trengwa Chen Shab Kie Peme Don Dan Tada Nempa. So then, yellow Jambhala. Again, left hand, he is also holding a mongoose or a mongoose bag. Then right hand, there's this fruit called Bijapuraka. And Vasudhara also right hand holding Bijapuraka. Bijapuraka is a type of citrus fruit, but this citrus fruit has lots and lots of seeds inside. Almost no flesh, all seeds. So what this symbolizes is, of course, seed is a symbol of growth, abundance. So this is the fruit that they hold in their right hand, Bija Puraka. Now, Jambhala in the western, back direction, western. So each of these Jambhalas are the 5 Buddha families, basically. So in the eastern direction, white in color, southern direction, yellow in color. Now, western direction, red in color. Red Jambhala is more complex. It has 3 faces, 6 arms. Then in his heart, coming out of his heart is Gurukule, the goddess, the Tara of attraction and control, with 4 arms. So very detailed, this red Jambhala. There are simpler forms of red Jambhala. This one is the 6-arm Jambhala, 3 face, and this is in the tradition of Trapangonshe. Trapangonshe tradition of red Jambhala. Kyabgön Jambhala Marpo Kundom Pemarage Dojen Shosum Chadru Ye Karayon Ma Oku Dantun Ba Shere La Chinsum Sum Awa Chadugi Yeshe Dangpo Rinpoche Baripe Kyabgön Dangpo Topa Norbu Gangwe Barwe Shaba Tama Nigi Nule Norgi Gangwa Rere Zinpa Shangi Gyangkum Gi Nojin Norkyu Nini Nenpa Chabe Nyam Chen Dada Rinpoche Dume Gempe Tukar Lama Guru Kule Marmo Shachi Chasima Chadang Niki Dazu Oma Niki Chagyu Dan Shapa Zimba Dada Rinpoche Gempa. As I mentioned yesterday, don't try to visualize every detail. First is the feeling, more important, of the presence of Vasudhara and the four Jambhalas. Just try to develop that feeling, that confidence. Yes, now I'm in front of this big lake. On the lake in the center, arising a big lotus. With Vasudhara in the center, surrounded by the four Jambhalas. Now to the left, also on a red sun cushion, right? Now appears black Jambhala. So he is described as a dwarf, kind of short, fat, strong, and wrathful. Again, left hand has a mongoose. Yundu Papa Mugzen Kudo Indranile Lumpola Duki Mumpe Kyuba Tabu Ye Topa Chagi Gangwa Tang Yun Yule Kyawa Zimba Jizerbu Mutungi Suchen Shani Kyangkungi Shene Noda Serbo Nenpa. Then from the three places of these five deities, meaning three places, body, speech, and mind. You should know from other places, other contexts. The three places have the Om syllable in the here, white color, A syllable, red in the throat, Hong syllable, blue in the heart. So from the three places of the five deities, lights go out to invite the wisdom beings to come. The actual Vasudhara and the four Jambhalas. And they will come in the form that is the same as the forms that you have created in front of you. So up until this point, what you have created is, you can say, it's like the shell, the container. Now the actual deities will come and sit in this shell, will become one with what you have created in front of you. So that is the Samaya beings. Samaya beings is what you have created in front. Jnana beings, Jnana Sattva, wisdom beings is the actual deities dissolving inseparably with the deities that is the mandala in front of you. So the translators are going to translate as I recite this. So go on translating. Dedar sokor tamche ki chibo karpo rimba amarpo tuka hong po de namle oze trope Ranshingi nene gompa dabu yeshe pa nam chen ram. So if you have Tingsha, you can play Tingsha now because they are arriving, right? This is a special effect. So music, you know. The next is to use words to welcome them, to invite them. Bema, you can share screen to show people where we are. Go ahead and share screen. So now this invitation, we say, please come here, you know, come to this place full of problems, full of trouble. Don't give up on us. We're saying that. Please come.
Lamala cities, right?
Let's see. Up a little bit. Up, not down. Up. Yeah, okay. Yeah, there, yeah. Gombo kunje tuje jen dada nima nga yedu she shingzu pe nengen ya drola zewe shek su so. Then Bhadra Samanta. So this is the mudra. Bhadra Samanta. This is using mantra to bring them, to invite them. Bhadra Samanta. So then, continuing, it says, you know, the Samaya Sattvas and the Jnana Sattvas become inseparable. Then now lights go out again. Now this time to invite the 5 families, empowerment deities, to fully empower the deities that are present in front of us. So please translate this as I chant this section. Se pa dang ye she pa yer me par gyur la yang tuka tuke sabong ki o ki wang ki la kya wa re na chen rang. Again, using Tingsha, you know, special effects to invite Chandran, that they come, welcome them. So now the 5 Buddha families, you know, holding vase, Bumba, to give empowerment to the 5 deities that is in front of us. So we request empowerment for them by making the 8 offerings to the 5 Buddha families, which is the mantra that we will say next. So this is offering to the empowerment deities. Om Pentakula Sabari Vara Argyam Paryam Pushpe Dhupe Aloke Gende Nivede Shabda Pradeja Soha Next, request empowerment with the next mantra. Om Sarva Tathagata Abhisinchayantu Mam. Wangele Wangur Kugang Mada Chu Langmar Yalu Bale Tsomo Dang Zamserla Rinjung Karbola Nam Nang Marabola Opame Nabola Mikyobe Chubengi Geda Wangla Namrang Nila Tempara Gyuru. So the empowerment is given now. So then it's also described, on top of each of the deities, there is one of the Buddhas appear. So the details are mentioned in the text. One thing to note here, Amoga city is not mentioned in here. In case some of you notice this and go, oh, how come Amoga city is not here? Just don't worry about it. Basically, the 5 Buddhas dissolve into the 5 deities. Rangi la pa yo me tu du na we usu a yi karpo zen pa le du zi ro gya dan den pa le chi me ki du zi la yang e par gyur wa nu pe gyum pa pa chum den de ma tsukuro nge sho du po shin ku tu so we nye zin shin zin ne 다소 semchen tamche la norgi ngadu charbaba tarso shinge para gyuru. So now with the mantra of the 5 deities, and then with the water offering, we make the offering. Om Vasudharinaye Jambala Jalendraye Jambala Jalendraye Dhanamediri Indani Mukam Bhamari Re Swaha. Om Vasudharinaye Jambala Jalendraye Jambala Jalendraye Dhanamediri Indani Mukam Bhamari Swaha. Om Vasudharinaye Jambala Jalendraye Jambala Jalendraye Dhanamediri Indani Mukam Bhamari Shri Swaha. So everyone can join in this recitation. Om Vasudharinaye Jambala Jalendraye Jambala Jalendraye Dhanamediri Indrani Mukam Bhamari Shri Swaha. Om Vasudharinaye Jambala Jalendraye Jambala Jalendraye Dhanamediri Indrani Mukam Brahmare Shri Swaha. Om Vasudharinaye Jambala Jalendraye Jambala Jalendraye Dhanamediri Indani Mukam Brahmare Swaha. Om Vasudharinaye Bala Jalendraye Jambala Jalendraye Dhanamediri Indrani Mukam Brahmare Swaha. Om Vasudharinaye Jambala Jalendraye Jambala Jalendraye Dhanamediri Indani Mukam Brahmare Swaha. Om Vasudharinaye Jambala Jalendraye Jambala Jalendraye Dhanamediri Indani Mukam Brahmare Swaha. Om Vasudharinaye Jambala Jalendraye Jambala Jalendraye Dhanamediri Indrani Mukam Brahmare Swaha. Om Vasudharinaye Jambala Jalendraye Jambala Jalendraye Dhanamediri Indrani Mukam Brahmare Swaha. Om Vasudharinaye Jambala Jalendraye Jambala Jalendraye Dhanamediri Indrani Mukam Brahmare Swaha. Om Vasudharanaye Jambala Jalendraye Jambala Jalendraye Dhanamedhiri Indranimukam Brahmarisi Swaha Om Vasudharanaye Jambala Jalendraye Jambala Jalendraye Dhanamedhiri Indranimukam Brahmarisi Swaha Om Vasudharanaye Jambala Jalendraye Jambala Jalendraye Dhanamedhiri Indranimukam Brahmarisi Swaha Om Vasudharanaye Jambala Jalendraye Jambala Jalendraye Dhanamedhiri Indranimukam Brahmarisi Swaha Om Vasudharanaye Jambala Jalendraye Jambala Jalendraye Dhanamedhiri Indranimukam Brahmarisi Swaha Om Vasudharanaye Jambala Jalendraye Jambala Jalendraye Dhanamedhiri Indranimukam Brahmarisi Swaha Om Vasudharanaye Jambala Jalendraye Jambala Jalendraye Dhanamedhiri Indranimukam Brahmarisi Swaha Om Vasudharanaye Jambala Jalendraye Jambala Jalendraye Dhanamedhiri Indranimukam Brahmarisi Swaha Om Vasudharanaye Jambala Jalendraye Jambala Jalendraye Dhanamedhiri Indranimukam Brahmarisi Swaha Om Vasudharanaye Jambala Jalendraye Jambala Jalendraye Dhanamedhiri Indranimukam Brahmarisi Swaha Om Vasudharanaye Jambala Jalendraye Jambala Jalendraye Dhanamedhiri Indranimukam Brahmarisi Swaha Om Vasudharanaye Jambala Jalendraye Jambala Jalendraye Dhanamedhiri Indranimukam Brahmarisi Swaha Om Vasudharanaye Jambala Jalendraye Jambala Jalendraye Dhanamedhiri Indranimukam Brahmarisi Swaha. So the notes here say, offer 21 times. So basically it means do it at least 21 times. You can do as many times as you want. You can keep filling this pot with more of the offerings and continue to offer as many times as you want. Oh yes. Now, the 8 offerings. Om Vasudharanaye Jambala Jalendraye Jambala Jalendraye Dhanamedhiri Indranimukam Brahmarisi Sapare Vara Argyam Padyam Pushpe Dupe Aloke Kende Nevede Shabda Pratija Soha. I just noticed in this text, maybe Shabda is missing. You should put in there if it is missing in your text. After Nevede, Shabda, the offering of sound music. Please add that in. Now the praise to each of the 5 deities, beginning with Vasudhara. La mo gang shi yi la ten tam gi pun so rin chen no dan tu nam dan ka shi ju so nge tu ter se ma sam pe nur gyun ter la chak se to shi we su sin chum de da we do da do ten na sin kyu gi ro shin Rang Chen Tergin Yu Le Sin Cha Se Tergong Bu Se Dagi Re Wa Zhu No Yi Wang Chu Rin Chen Ter Nga Shin Nu Jin Nor Da Mang Po Kun Ji Je Zhang Zhu Gyong Wei Gong Po Jambhala Ngö Zhu Zhou So No La Cha Se Do Du Sun San Ji Kun Ji Sung Gi La Tu Jie Cha Gu Hu Do Mar Po Su Wang Gi Trin Le Suk Se Jambhala Cha Xiao Zhou Wei Re Wa Kang Du So Pa Pa Mu Xin Cho Wa Na Miu Tong Su Chan Nu Ji De Pon Ji Kyo Ni Mi Kyo Cho Tu Da Den Gi Cha Xiao No Gi Nge Zhu Nge Du So. Request is next. Serne le ki me yi dung pa nam ke dang ke war kyo la kyab su chi rin chen du tsi char gi gyu chu gyun gi sem chen u wei dung yao shi war zu. Bhadra Sato Samaya Manubalaya Bhadra Sato Teno Pa Teta Teto Membhava Suto Kayo Membhava Supo Kayo Membhava Anurato Membhava Sarva Siddhi Mempraya Cha Sava Kama Sujame Chidam Shreya Guru Ho Bhagavan Sarva Tata Gata Bhasama Memunja Bhasri Bhava Mahasamaya Sato Now send, release all the deities back to the natural state by sending them off. Bhadra mu yeshe pa na rang ne su she damse pa rang la tim pa rang gyuru. Just a few moments, let your mind rest evenly and rest in this spaciousness of mind, of heart. This is the true Vasudhara, the true Jambhala. It's this open, spacious, limitless heart. This is the essence of Vasudhara and the four Jambhala. And then at the end, you take some of the water and taste, symbolizing receiving the attainments, the results of this practice. Ring and thumb touch the plate and to your tongue. Taste. Then with your right hand, you pour this, what is in the small plate. And now if you have a statue that you're using, don't pour the statue into the big plate. Hold with your left hand the statue, then pour everything down towards you. Yeah. And then you can put your statue down somewhere else. Don't throw your statue into the big plate. Yesterday I forgot one step. Now here, then this plate you put back onto the stand. Then you take some, you take more, and you wash the plate. It's called washing the plate. You pour some on the plate, and you wash. Then you again pour the rest of it Then this time, you can turn the plate upside down. And the washing part is also to symbolize like whatever remains, whatever is left, I offer all of it. Yeah, without holding back, without keeping. Then here you add whatever dedication prayer that you normally do. Sonam de tam je ba ne tom ne ne pe ranam pam je de ke ga na ji balong tru ba ye se be so le dro wa jo cham ju sam ju rin bo je ma ke ba nam ke gyur ji ke ba nyam ba me ba yang go ne gong du par wa jo lama ku kang sang ba so wa de chok tu ku se ring wa so wa de chin le da jing ke ba so wa de Lama dhan rewa me be jinji lo jambel pawo jida kempa da kuntu zangpo deyan deshin de da kunji jesu dhalo ji kewa di da tamje rabdu ngo sanje kusu nebe jinlab dan chuni mi gyur dempe jinlab dan kende mi je dube jinlab ki jidang onshin monlan rupra jo dadang kode tam jegi dusun du sangpa da yobe gewe tsawa di dadang senchen tamje nudu lana me pa yang Dapra sope janju rinpoche topara kyu chi sheja kunsi kunkien choki chi tendre nela wanto drikung pa rinjen pyagi tenpa sitebra shedru tosang kumbe zinkyu chi kumpa namda kadang tumpa yi mano lamtong kewa chidru pa sachu kumpo drikung rinjen ki tenpa dashin yurin nekyu chi. And so in this way, we have completed once this practice. Maybe. Questions?
Thank you so much, Lamala. We are very happy today.
Very good. Let's see. I think there's, one or two maybe. Claudia, go ahead. I cannot hear you, Claudia. You might have to go to the English.
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Okay. Yesterday there was a question about if we can use the elements we use for the offering to Achi for this practice.
Oh, you mean the circum, you mean?
The circum, yes.
Normally don't use the circum set for doing this offering. Keep them separate. Yeah.
Okay.
Good.
Thank you.
So go ahead and translate that. So the question is, can we use the Dharmapala circum set, the one and then another one to do this? You should not. Keep those two separate. Can you see?
Can I speak?
Yes, Lorenzo, go ahead.
Thank you. Thank you very much for all these teachings. And I have two questions. If we don't have the set for water offering, what we can use to substitute this set? And if we do other water offering practices like Naga offering and this sort of water offering, we use the same set or we use a different set apart from this one of Vasudhara? Thank you very much.
Okay. So please go ahead and translate. So the question again is, if we don't have this, this kind of set, it's not easy to get. What can we do? Oh, find anything. I said yesterday to substitute, find a teapot, find a plate with a stand, you can make. But what I suggest is, whatever you find to use, don't also use it to serve tea to your guests when they come, if possible. Just set aside. So that's basically what you should do. And then if you're doing other water offering practices, you can use the same set. You can use the same set.
Hello.
Go ahead. Yes.
Yeah, Lamala, just want to ask you, is it appropriate for us to practice this Vasudhara water offering without Vasudhara empowerment?
Yeah, so no issue. Here is outer practice of making offerings. You don't need empowerment of the deity. Empowerment of the deity is needed, especially when you are visualizing yourself as the deity. Later, like I said, this is 4 parts to this whole sadhana. Like when we come to the essence part, where you have to visualize yourself as the deity, then to have the empowerment of this specific deity is, of course, necessary and very good. Then even with the issue of deity, depending on who you ask, they will say, oh, you absolutely need, or as long as you have received one empowerment, received with good understanding of what empowerment is, then in a way you have the essence already. So for example, a lama like Gajen Rinpoché, he will say, it's okay, as long as you have received one empowerment, receive it, with sincerity, with devotion, with bodhicitta, then you're good, Then of course, if you have opportunity to receive the empowerment, you receive it. But again, your question for this offering, no, it's not necessary. The empowerments.
Lamala,
Yes.
you can teaching use Tingsa and Mudra Benjamu.
Yes, Bajramu is just snap. Snap. Oh, they're gone. Bajramu, fancy. Okay. Yes, I think if I understand the question, you should organize, if you have local group, local sangha, to do this practice together. It will help you, it will help your community, it will help your local sangha. It's very good if you are able to organize to do it wherever you are. You can do it in your local language. Do it in Vietnamese, do it in English, do it in Spanish. Whatever language that everyone is comfortable doing it together, do it. Don't need to do it in Tibetan. I know sometimes we feel, oh, it's more special. But if it gives you a special feeling to do in Tibetan, yes, you can do in Tibetan, also nothing wrong. But main thing is, don't do blindly without understanding what is going on. You need to have understanding.
Thank you so much, Lamala.
Mm. So also, yeah, I can tell you, like recently, one, one Dharma organization, very big, they were needing to finish a big project, but with pandemic and everything, things got really difficult, and they were not sure whether they can finish in time, and but they also need to finish. If they don't, so then not really planned, they asked me to do a Zoom program with them, and I not really planning also. I said, okay, I will teach you this Jambhala water offering. This one is another text, not this one, just another Jambhala water offering text. I said, recently we got this translated, I got the transmission, so I will teach, so they did, they did that. They received that, and then I encouraged them. I said, at your local centers, if you can, you have a team of people, at least weekly, you do this. And you do this with the intention of supporting your local Dharma center, for the Dharma to grow, for the Dharma to flourish. So recently I heard from them, the head of the place, and he said, yes, I was short of the equivalent of about US 300,000, and I don't know where to get that money, because I know my centers, they don't have the ability to find that 300,000. But he said, but one of the centers came to me and said, can we do something? Can we fundraise for this? Then he thought, yeah, you can. And he said in his mind, no, impossible to solve this $300,000 problem, But to his surprise, they raised more than 300,000. Never done before, he said like this. Usually he said, one or two very rich people suddenly will come and give. But in this case, it was the members all together. So I believe, and we believe that it's because, of the interdependence of this practice. I don't want to encourage you to think like this is magic or superstition, but this is what we mean by interdependence. We do it with the right motivation, and we can help others this way. So please do this practice in this spirit, that the Dharma can grow and flourish. Dharma can grow and flourish not because, there is more Buddhists in this world. Oh, we Buddhists are so strong, so good. No, not for that reason. Dharma can grow and flourish because it is true benefit to people. We don't need more people to become Buddhist. We need more people to be free from suffering. That is more important. To plant a seed for future, okay? Now you should try to do as much as you're inspired, not out of guilt, not out of fear, out of real understanding and appreciation. Do the water offering. So do more and more of that, then we accumulate merit, we accumulate the causes and conditions. Then, whenever the conditions are right, we can go to the next part of this practice, which is called the inner practice of relying on DHARMA. So there's the inner practice of relying on the DHARMA, of Vasudhara and the 4 Jambhalas. Then there's also the secret practice of a Gao. So this is a Gao. This Gao is a Vasudhara Gao. Gao is like an amulet. So there is the secret practice. You need to make a Gao. And then you keep the Gao with you. This amulet, you keep as a like a secret object that you keep with you. Then finally the essence level. So there are 4 levels, 4 parts to this whole practice. So in the future, we can do these other parts. Joe, if you can.
Namala, can you show me the Gao Vasudhara?
Yes, Pema, I know you want to see, Pema is always interested in new things. But not much you can see, inside there. It's a tata, it's a Vasudhara tata. Vasudhara tata is very hard to find. We have to find some friends in Nepal, Newari. They have to go to a secret place in Kathmandu to do some pujas, to get some special mud to make the tata. Last time we asked them to make, they made 110. Then that's it. Even the tata mold they destroy. So not so easy, but we can, in the future. This Vasudhara Gao. Yeah.
Thank you so much, Lamala.
Okay, now that's it. Finish. Hold on. Hold on.
Thank you very much, Lamala. I'm from Colombia.
Yeah, okay. Colombia.
Yes. Gracias, Dr. Lee.
Okay.
Gracias, Lama.
Thank you, Lamala.
Gracias. Gracias.
Gracias, Lama.
Gracias, Lamala.
Gracias, Lama.
Thank you from Chile. Thank you so much.
Gracias.
Desde Colombia.
Thank you, Lama.
Gracias.
Desde Ecuador.
Gracias, Puerto Rico.
Yo, Lama.
Thank you, Dr. Lai.
México.
Woof, woof.
Thank you, Lama.
Thank you very much.
Ecuador.
Así, Ecuador. Hola,
Estela.
gusto de saludarlo, de verlo.
Galápagos, Lama, Galápagos. Galápagos.
Ah, Galapagos.
Also, thank you for Joseph.
Yeah.
Thank you for answering us and helping us. Thank you,
Yeah.
Joseph.
Yes. Bye-bye.
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 Adios. Monica.
Yes, hello.